Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about AP Regeneration TMRs. We're going to talk about some of the ones coming in the future, what the difference between the ones that we have now is. Specifically, we're going to talk in the context of Lucio's TMR. There were a lot of people in my Lucio video that didn't understand why Lucio's TMR is better than some of the other AP Regeneration TMRs. So we're going to talk about some of those specific details and why it does make a difference when you do look at the fully leveled version of Lucio's TMR versus other TMRs. So let's go ahead and dig in. So first off, we're going to look at the gold standard, and this is going to be the gold standard TMR that has guided everybody through, and that's going to be Ziza's bells, right? I almost said Ziza's blades, but Ziza's bells is going to grant auto restore AP. When you fully level it, it's going to be 25% for 3 turns to self. What this means is that your unit is going to restore 25% of their AP every turn for 3 turns. That is a very large amount of AP, and compared to a lot of the other TMR or AP ability restore capabilities that we have, this is going to be extremely high, and that's why it's the gold standard. It's also the gold standard because it has the highest agility in the game on it. It has defense, it has accuracy, and many jobs can equip it, which is a problem when we start getting into some of the other TMRs. Now, the other TMRs that you're probably familiar with are going to be Uldoa's Apron and the White Wolf's Armor. Now, these have been with us for a very long time. Uldoa's Apron grants an auto restore AP of 5% for 3 turns. Now, keep in mind, Bells gives you 25%. So Bells is going to give you 5 times as much AP as the Uldoan Apron, but the Apron is going to give you defense penetration 50. Now, this is pretty good. I would say the Uldoan Apron has always been a good secondary AP generation TMR, but the jobs that can equip it are extremely limited. There's no agility on it, and it's one of those pieces of gears that it's great if you can equip it, but it's not always going to suit your needs. Very similarly, the White Wolf's Armor has very restrictive jobs that can equip it. It is going to be classified as an armor type, which, you know, for some people could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you're wanting to build your character. But instead of giving you a certain amount of AP generation per turn, this is just going to give you a flat AP buff. So this is just going to give you 20 AP. So in terms of strength, right, for a long time, it's always been Bells and then Uldoa's Apron, because these restore AP gradually every turn, and they give you quite a bit of AP, and then it's kind of White Wolf's Armor for that restore 20 AP and give that slash resistance 15%. What we've always been limited on, though, is really the jobs that can equip these, and, you know, whether or not, you know, particularly in the case of White Wolf's Armor, whether it's going to be worth it to use this or whether it's more worth it to use maybe one of your own character's abilities that's going to make one of their attacks hit harder. Now, we do have a few other honorary mentions that have been around for a long time. That's going to be Angel Ribbon, and that's going to be Charlotte's TMR. Most people do not use these, but they both restore AP. Charlotte's TMR gives 15, Winter Harmony gives 15 to the units around them. You know, you don't see these in use because they don't regenerate a lot of AP, and they, particularly in the case of Shield, replace weapons. I would say what you do see more of was Summer Kill Phase TMR, and I in particular am a huge fan of this one because it gives 5 agility, 8 spirit, 303 HP, but it also gives Shell for a 25% reduced magical damage for 3 turns. It gives AP plus 20, right? So it's the exact same as back here, the Glaciella TMR, but the Exotic Pareo, it can be used twice and many jobs can equip it. So this TMR is much more flexible, much more versatile than any of the other AP TMRs that have kind of come before it. It's kind of up there in the Bells category in terms of everyone that can equip it. So I would say this has become my third, like my number 3, sometimes my even number 2, considering how difficult it can be to get units to equip Uldoa's TMR sometimes. This has been my go-to for quite a while now. Noctis's TMR is a very powerful TMR that should not be underestimated. And I would say Noctis's TMR is probably better than Uldoa's Apron now. It does grant AP 5% for 3 turns for self. So this is exactly the same AP regeneration as Uldoa and Apron. It does grant Protect, which is great. But again, very similar to all of the other AP regeneration kind of very similar to a lot of them, I should say. It's very limited in the jobs that can equip it. And a lot of the times what you'll find is a lot of the jobs that can equip, like Uldoa and Apron, could also equip another AP generation TMR. So what you're gonna find is you'll be setting up a composition where you're like, this is the comp that I want to run. It's a 5-man composition. Trials of Reckoning is a great example right now. I was trying to set up my Trials of Reckoning composition with AP regeneration TMRs, and I found that some units could equip this, other units could not equip this. I needed bells to go on a certain unit, but that was the only unit that could like equip, you know, Uldoa and Apron. Like, it was just a huge mess in terms of accessibility and being able to equip AP generation TMR. So in terms of kind of Noctis's TMR joining the fray, you kind of get a situation where your top 3 AP regeneration TMRs are going to be Bells, Uldoa and Apron, and Noctis's TMR, particularly with Protect. But you still have Bells giving substantially more AP than Noctis's TMR or Uldoa's TMR. And I think that's really important to understand, because if you have run Uldoa and Apron before, if you have run, you know, Noctis's TMR, for example, you will know that running out of AP is a problem. You know, one thing with Noctis's TMR, you know, people say, oh, but you can cast it twice. And that's true for the most part, but a lot of the times I would think auto AI is not going to cast it twice. That would not be what I would expect from the auto AI. And I would expect it only to be cast once. Maybe if you're manualing something, you could cast it twice. But I mean, I'm really cautiously optimistic that the AI would actually use it twice. And so I don't see that. You know, I do see it as a boon, right? I do see it as a boon, but it is something to kind of be aware of. Very similar with the Pareo, right? The exotic Pareo, where yes, it has 2 casts, but again, it could, you know, for example, like it could not get cast twice. I think the Pareo is a different example altogether, though, kind of debating with myself right now, because the Pareo is a instant restore, right? So you get 20 AP immediately, whereas Noctis's TMR is a AP over time. So I would see kind of a situation where you would use the Pareo 2 times more often than Noctis's TMR. Lots to consider and think about here, but let's talk about why we're here, which is to talk about Lucio's TMR. And honestly, there was a lot of comments on the video on why you should care about Lucio's TMR. It's just another AP generation TMR, to kind of quote one of the comments, or a couple of the comments that were on that video. But that's not true, because this TMR is accessible to a lot of units. A lot of units that, you know, wouldn't normally be able to get an AP generation TMR. It's categorized as an accessory, and it's going to give you twice the amount of AP of any other AP generating TMR. So in terms of AP generation, actual AP generation on your character, besides Ziza's bells, this is going to be the highest AP returning TMR in the game. And for, in particular, PvE content, where you are trying to auto content, or you're trying to get your unit to use multiple abilities in a row, this is going to be vital in terms of potential guild battle, PvP. Maybe not as much, right? Because you're doing a lot of buffing in that situation. AP is maybe less of an issue, but it's still going to be absolutely vital for while you play through the game. And I think this is going to be a TMR everybody's going to use. They might not realize they're going to use it right now. They're probably thinking, you know, well, I have Uldoa's Apron, I have bells, I'm gonna be fine. I just got Noctis's TMR. Until you realize a lot of jobs can't equip those. and you're kind of in a situation where you're like, well, I have exotic Pareo, or I have this, and the amount of AP this will restore is like double or triple the Pareo, you're going to be using Lucio's TMR a lot more. So there's a lot going on in the world right now, a lot of new TMRs coming down the pipe, which we're also going to talk about. This video is also going to get into some of the future AP Generation TMRs, but please do not underestimate how powerful, how versatile, how universal Lucio's TMR is going to be. Now, there's 3 other TMRs I want to talk about here. The first one's going to be Terra's TMR. If you didn't know, Terra's TMR is going to actually give AP generation to herself, or it'll restore 20 AP to herself, and then it'll increase the evocation gauge around allies. Again, that's pretty good. Not that Terra probably needs much AP, but it always helps out. You also have Setia's TMR, which Setia's TMR is going to give 20 AP for self and missile attack 25 for 3 turns to allies. This little bit problematic, especially with the jobs that can equip this. I would think more often than not, you know, particularly in Setia's case, you're going to be setting probably bells on her, or potentially even Lucio's TMR if she can equip it. But I don't see this TMR being huge in terms of AP restoration, but it is something I wanted to mention. What I see getting used more though, for those of you that are not familiar with this, this is the new Ice Warrior of Crystals TMR that just came out on the JP side. This TMR is very cool. You can see here on the range, it's a pretty wide range. Decrease AP consumption 25 for 3 turns for allies, restore AP 10 for allies. And I would say, while not being a really powerful AP restoration TMR, the decrease AP consumption 25 for 3 turns to allies plus the restore AP 10, I think you're going to see some synergy at work here. Again, not the best, not as good as Lucio's TMR, but really cool, really awesome, really innovative, different, I would say, and I think it's a really good direction. So you guys, I hope this clears up a little bit why Lucio's TMR is so much better than, say, Oldoa's Apron, or potentially some of these other TMRs that restore 20 AP. Again, you know, whether or not it's better than Noctis's, for example, where you need that protection, that protect barrier, that's going to be up in the air. But in terms of just, if you need a character to have raw AP, it's going to be better no matter what. And it's going to be more universally applicable to so many jobs. Anyway, everybody, if you do want to support me, make sure you use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins or dig.gs/offer. You can always support me with super chat as well down in the comments. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I'm going to be covering some of the other Warriors of Crystal coming out. I hope you guys are hyped. I'm hyped. And talk to you guys next time.